Men with a lot of power don't need to make themselves known. It's not necessary for them to argue, explain, or prove. It's enough that they are there. A world full of views, reactions, and validation all the time, there is one thing that sets wise people apart from foolish ones: silence. It's not the silence of weakness or doubt, it's the silence of power. The kind of silence that makes people feel uneasy because they can't read it. The kind that makes people respect them without asking for it. People like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, who were Stoics, knew that talking less wasn't just a matter of discipline. Dominate was the word. Not being quiet is not the point. Mastering your words so they help you instead of hurt you is what it's all about. The man who talks with direction wins. The person who talks without thinking loses everything. Based on Stoic ideas, here's why talking less makes you stronger. Number 1. Speak last, and you'll control the room. Imagine a room full of sounds that are all competing with each other. Everyone wants to be heard so badly. They talk over you, correct you, and talk too much. As they try to take over the air, their words crash into each other. There is one man sitting still in the middle of all this noise. He's not trying to get in the way. He's not making a noise. He is looking, peaceful, checked, present. That man is really powerful. He does not talk to compete. He talks to wrap up. The noise stops when he finally speaks. The attention changes, not because he commands it, but because his silence has added weight. Everyone naturally listens. At those times, the quiet is louder than any sound that came before it. That's being present. That's strength. That's how the Stoic law works. The Stoics knew this in a way that most people today have forgotten. Epictetus, who was born into slavery and became one of the best philosophers of his time, knew how important it was to speak slowly. Because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, we can listen twice as much as we talk. He wasn't trying to be creative. He was giving away a secret. If you listen more than you speak, you'll say something that no one else was smart enough to. When you speak last, you don't have to hold your tongue out of fear. It means to keep your mouth shut out of respect. Most people talk just to be heard, to fill the quiet with noise so they don't feel like they're not there. That silence, though, is fine with the Stoic man. It helps him. People can talk themselves out of problems and contradict themselves without his interference. In the meantime, he gathers facts. He looks around the room. Not only does he listen to what is said, but also how it is said. The tone, the breaks, the hopelessness that lies beneath the confidence. Then, and only then, he speaks. But he doesn't talk to win the moment when he does. It's to end this moment. His words don't seem to fit in with what's being said. They think that's the end of it. That kind of power doesn't need a lot of noise. There's no need for theater. It doesn't need to be approved. It only needs time and presence. Of course, quiet is the best way to build timing. You weaken your voice every time you speak quickly. You don't wait around. You give away your place too soon. When you wait, when you earn your words by listening and being quiet, those words become clearer, more thoughtful, and easier to remember. So, whenever you talk to someone, ask yourself, what's the rush? Let other people fight to be first. Let them hurt their pride. Wait, because the last person to speak shapes the conversation, not just adds to it. Number 2, every word you say reveals you. So say less. There is a window into your thoughts in every word you say. You show your fears, goals, and insecurities, even if you don't mean to. That nervous laugh, that answer was too long, that drive to make noise in every void. Everything point to a greater meaning, and you can't get it back once it's out there. Letters are like arrows. If you let them go, they won't come back. Their aim is either accurate or they reveal your position. This is why the Stoics thought silence was so important. Speech that isn't necessary is a trap, Seneca wrote. It's not just a waste of time. It's an open invitation for people to break you down, question you, challenge you, and finally use what you say against you. A person who talks too much gives away his power little by little. A lot of people don't get it. They believe that talking is good and not harmful. They think that being honest means telling everything. They believe that telling everyone everything they think makes them honest, likable, or reliable. Being honest is one thing, but being careless is another. Being honest doesn't mean letting every stranger into your soul. It doesn't mean you give other people the power to control you. People can guess what you're going to say more and more. And guys who are easy to control are predictable. Simple to corner. Simple to read. Now think about the men who scare you without speaking loudly. The ones who sit quietly in a room and make other people nervous, but not by being mean, but by being calm. People who are noisy have to face their own noise because of their quiet. That's strength. That's remaining calm. That's a purposeful puzzle. When a man doesn't talk much, he builds an aura that words can't match. He doesn't have to keep defending himself because what he did is clear. He doesn't fight to be understood because he doesn't want to be agreed with. He just lives his life as he pleases, and people listen when he talks. People have to lean in when you say less. Your thoughts are locked behind a wall that only good people can get through. Not out of fear, but because you are disciplined, you can't be read. And the man who can't be read is the most dangerous in a world where too much is known. Let other people talk themselves into being weak. Let them use noise to show off. You don't say anything. You keep your plan, because people value your words when they are hard to find. People remember your speech when it's short. When you finally speak up, it doesn't just add to the conversation. It makes it what it is. Number 3, mystery makes you magnetic. People notice and forget about the quiet man for a reason. Because he's loud, that's not why. He isn't trying to impress her. The reason is that you give him everything and he gets nothing in return. People can't answer a man who doesn't explain himself or rush to make noise. People can't get enough of questions that aren't answered. Theatrics don't add to the mystery. It's been built by holding back, by what you don't say, with the choices you make on your own without asking for permission. The way you leave talks that don't go anywhere. And if you live that way, people will feel your presence even when you're not there. Take a look at Marcus Aurelius as a person, not just as ruler. He didn't have to bark to show that he was in charge. The hard work was done by his calm, balance, and silence. His power came from being still and in charge of himself. People pay attention when a man like that walks in. They can tell when something is deep, but they don't know why. That's the important thing. They have no idea why. They can feel it. In the same way, mystery takes away definition and adds weight in its place. People can get a better idea of who you are when you say less. Finally, the truth is that what people think about you will always be stronger than what you say. They'll know you're strong even if you don't act it. They'll think you're smart even if you don't show it. Because when you're quiet, they can use it to project their own dreams, fears, and fantasies onto you. Not only does this work in power dynamics, but it also works in relationships, attraction, and impact. This guy doesn't always write first. The person who doesn't talk about their whole life. The person who stands out is the one who answers questions with calm precision and never shows too much passion. But a man who talks too much, shows too much feeling, and has to explain every choice he makes because he's afraid of being misunderstood, ends up being average. Easily guessed. Don't remember. So keep your secrets safe. Don't tell the whole story. Don't share your thoughts unless you have to. Let people be curious. Let them guess. Let them fail at figuring you out. People stop respecting you once they think they know you. But they think about you all the time because they can't figure you out. It's like quiet is drawing you in. Number 4, talking too much is a form of weakness. Men who feel insecure talk a lot. They have more to prove, not because they have more to give. Every statement is a way to defend yourself. Every view is a call for attention. Every joke is a tryout to see if it works. They're trying to hide a simple truth beneath all the noise. They're afraid of being missed. But the truth is that if you have to say what your value is, you probably don't have any. The truth about your strength doesn't come out. There's no need to see it. It is what it is. There is no noise coming from it. Guys with that kind of strength never make the most noise in the room. Talking too much shows that you can't control yourself. It shows impatience, mood swings, and a desperate need to fill silence with something, anything, to stop feeling like you're not being seen. To be invisible is not a sign of weakness. It's sometimes the best way to be present. The Stoics thought that controlling your tongue was one of the best ways to show that you were in charge of yourself. For them, silence didn't mean nothing. It meant control. People lean in when you only speak when you need to. When you wait to answer, your words come out more like choices than emotions. Not only are you throwing ideas around, you're also getting people's attention. Being there in that way can't be faked. When you don't feel good in your own skin, you probably talk too much. You can feel the quiet and think it's your job to break it. But being quiet isn't a threat, it's a test. And most people fail it. They rush to talk too much, use filler words, and feel worried to fill it up. However, a man who can sit in silence without being bothered or scared sends a clear message. I don't need your support. I'm not here to make you laugh. I'm in charge of myself, and that kind of power doesn't happen very often. Men who make the most noise worry and try to stay afloat in a mess. But the Stoic man doesn't move. Not moved. He watches while other people get lost in their own noise. Waits. Then when it's time, they speak. When he does, his words don't seem to fit with what's being said. You could say them as orders. Don't judge your worth by how much you say. Let other people waste their time trying to prove themselves. Let them shout at each other to get your attention. You? Don't worry. Do not move. You should only speak up when no one else can. That man who needs to say less isn't empty. He has a lot of power and is smart enough to keep it. Number 5. Listening is a strategy of the strong. In a world where everyone wants to be heard, one of the rarest and most important skills a man can have is the ability to really listen. We all know what it's like to hear our own words. It is natural for us to want to speak up, chime in, or make our case. But being able to hear is more important than being able to talk. When someone listens carefully, they're not just getting information, they're also reading the room. They are paying attention to more than just what is said. They are observing the tone of voice, body language, pauses, and small clues that people drop when they believe they are winning the fight. Someone who hears doesn't answer right away. Instead, they take everything in, think about it, and change. But they don't say much. If they stay quiet, they learn everything they need to know about their enemy, their friends, and their supporters. This was clear to the Stoics. In his thoughts, Marcus Aurelius often talked about how important it was to understand and observe other people without using force or anger, but by paying them calm, measured attention. He knew that listening could help you understand how other people think and act. That little thought was much stronger than any case you could make. You give away information when you talk too much. It shows what you're thinking, what you're bad at, and what you want to do. But the watcher who stays quiet, he is gathering information. He's letting other people show his feelings, their fears, and their plans. In this way, he gets the upper hand. The most outspoken person in an argument is often the least sure of themselves. The person who can't stop talking really wants to lead the conversation. But the person who listens is the one who runs the game. This skill is especially important when negotiating. It's not that they talk more, that they talk less. They let the other person say what they think, how flexible they are, and what their top goals are. The quiet mediator watches, listens, and thinks about what is being said, while others rush to make their case. They're already a few steps ahead by the time they talk. Like chess moves, their words are carefully picked, deliberate, and powerful. Silence isn't a sign of disinterest. It's a plan. The choice to hold back, watch, and understand is made on purpose. The man who doesn't say anything is the one who is really listening. This guy is in charge of how information moves. He already knows what the other person is thinking, so he doesn't need to take over the conversation. He can pick up on the small things that most people miss because they're too busy talking, like the slight pause or change in tone. So the next time you're in a talk, a negotiation, or even a casual chat, don't feel the need to fill the silence right away. Accept it. Get the most out of it. Pay attention, because when you're alone, you can hear the most important thing, the truth. Number 6, stillness commands more respect than noise. Some guys have an air about them that doesn't need to be explained, defended, or yelled. It's not the loud voice. It's not the movement of violence. It's not the need to be seen all the time. There is less noise, something with more power. It's quiet. People don't understand stillness in a world that is hooked on speed, response, and volume. People with real power know this, though. A man who moves slowly, talks calmly, and acts on purpose has weight. It's there when he walks in the room. He is the energy, not something he's after. He doesn't try to be heard like other people do. He waits, looks at, does the math, and what he does has meaning. This is what the Stoics did. They practiced mental stillness as well as silence in public. As Marcus Aurelius put it, a man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ideals. Also, you need to learn how to be still if you want to be appreciated. Not just heard, how you sit down, how you breathe, how you respond when someone tries to bother you. These things say more than what you say. Stillness means you're in charge. A man who has mastered himself doesn't flinch, doesn't need to explain, and doesn't act without thinking. And in a world full of loud, impulsive guys who are trying to dominate each other, that kind of presence is hard to forget. Picture a cat. It doesn't roar all the time to show that it's a lion. It walks slowly and with confidence, and its gracefulness makes people look at it without having to beg for it. That's what being still does. It separates you from the crazy. People think about it before they talk to you. It makes them change their tone and think about what they're saying. It's not because you scared them, but because you didn't. You did not have to. This is true in all situations, including work, relationships, and social interactions. Clear, slow speech will make people lean in. People will respect your time if you move slowly and maintain your cool. You'll blend in with the chaos if you hurry, move around, and make noise all the time. The person who fought for attention is forgotten. They think of the person who didn't need it. So learn how to be still. Don't shout. Do not say anything. Let your silence talk for you. And when you do move, do it with all your heart, for everyone to see when the quiet man finally does something. That's when they understand he was in charge the whole time. Number 7. Rare words are remembered. People don't pay attention to a man's voice when he talks all the time. It's like background. People hear his words but don't remember them before they land, like leaves in the wind. But when a man speaks with purpose, without rushing, and only when it counts, what he says sticks with you. This is the idea that the Stoics lived by. They didn't think of talking as fun. They saw it as a weapon, one that should be sharp, accurate, and only used when needed. Seneca said, "Talk that is too full of words shows that the mind is not trained." If you always have something to say, it means you don't think about things seriously enough. Silence is rare, so people value it. And when someone who usually stays quiet speaks, everyone pays attention. They know it's not just noise. They know that something is going to change. Power is not in the number, but in the timing. Like anything else, words lose their worth when they're used too much. But a few carefully chosen words can become legends. Think about the people you look up to the most. People who have made a big difference in your life, whether they are leaders, teachers, or just quiet people. Most likely, they weren't the ones who were always filling the air. They said something that made sense of everything. A single word or line that kept playing over and over for years. That's not a mistake. And that's on purpose. This is a useful tool for everyday life. Don't rush to fill the silence when you're talking to someone. Allow it to breathe. Let other people talk. Let them show who they are. Then, when you do answer, say it with weight. Pick clarity over being smart. Don't just say what you could say what needs to be said. And end your speech when you've made your point. This is also true in arguments. The person who doesn't talk much wins. Why? He's not trying to win the moment. He's trying to take the picture. While other people get angry, defensive, and talkative, the quiet man chooses his spot. And when he says what he wants to say, it hits like a hammer. It's won, not because it's loud. The things you say are money. If you spend them carefully, people will be interested in them. If you throw them away, you'll just be another noise in a world full of talk. Let other people talk. Let them show what they can do. You? Say only what's important. Use every word wisely. Because when no one hears you, a word can be remembered for a long time. Number 8. You can't hear yourself when you're always talking. When a man talks all the time, he forgets what he really thinks. His voice makes him forget what he's thinking. Suddenly, he reacts, echoes, and performs like everyone else around him. But they never really knew. It's dangerous to talk all the time. You can't hear the most important conversation when you fill every quiet moment with talking, entertainment, or other things that take your mind off of things. The Stoics knew this better than anyone else. They didn't see quiet as emptiness. It was clear. You could look in the mirror and see who you really were without any work or pride. At night, Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself over and over again, not to impress other people, not something to read, but to hear his own thoughts, to break down his deeds, question his reasons, and face his fears. He knew that even the smartest man is lost without knowing himself, because your words are just noise if they aren't based in self-truth, no matter how powerful they are. People no longer know how to be quiet. Everything around you screams for your attention these days. Conversations, discussions, podcasts, news feeds, and social media are all designed to keep your mind off of things going on in the world. But the wise man looks inside himself. He runs away from the chaos not to get away from life, but to understand it better. To know himself better. That can only happen when everything is still. Whenever you pause long enough to hear your own breath, your own ideas come to the surface. And sometimes those thoughts aren't nice. That's why most people try to stay away from quiet. Because the truth shows up when the noise dies down. The worries, the unfinished conflict, the past you haven't dealt with yet. However, that's where the work starts. That's where you begin to change. This is why Stoics thought about things every day, not only as a mental workout, but also as a way to get clean. When there is silence, the act falls apart, showing what's really going on. Are you living the way you believe in? Do what you say and what you do match up? Do your goals come from a sense of value or ego? If you're making a lot of noise, you can't answer those questions. The irony is that your words get stronger once you understand yourself better. Lack of better. More sincere. Because they no longer feel like they have to say something, but because they know the truth. After that, people begin to pay attention, take a step back, quiet down, allow the silence to talk. Because that's where you'll meet yourself, who most people try to avoid. Number 9, true power doesn't announce itself. Power that really moves doesn't make noise. It doesn't need to be seen. It's not cocky. It doesn't say anything. The most powerful guys in history didn't just walk into a room and say they were important. They did not have to. Their presence alone was powerful. Their silence spoke louder than any words they could say. Self-promotion is all the rage these days, so being quiet is a sign of defiance. Others are driven to show their worth by talking, posting, and bragging all the time, but the man of quiet strength doesn't do any of those things. He does something. He builds. From the inside, he leads. That kind of power, the kind that doesn't need to be used, lasts throughout time. Take a look at Marcus Aurelius. He was in charge of the Roman Empire, which was one of the biggest powers ever. Still, he didn't give a lot of statements. He wasn't looking for praise. He instead stayed quiet and wrote down questions for himself in papers. Questions. Having self-control. The rules. The world saw an emperor who was calm, but in secret he was working on his soul. That's being strong. Working hard on yourself when no one is looking. Power that does not need to be praised. You lose power when you talk too much. You say what you plan to do. People can use what you say to control you. But when you work alone, you're hard to guess. You don't have to defend yourself or explain why you made the choices you did. You let the numbers speak for you. You also speak slowly, clearly, and with a sense of calm power when you do. Being silent is not what this means. In fact, the opposite. The quiet man always keeps an eye on things, makes plans, and trains his thoughts. He doesn't want to broadcast it, though. He has authority because he can control what he says, how he feels, and how he looks. Some people feel it but don't know why. They can tell by the way he stands, talks, and holds himself back. People who want power usually lose it, but those who are powerful but don't show it, they turn into forces that no one saw coming. Don't try to stand out anymore. Don't waste your time with pointless words. Set up in quiet. Think about it in peace. Plan in quiet. And when it's time to move, do it quietly, not loudly, because real power doesn't show itself. When it comes, everything changes. Number 10. Speak like you're dropping a hammer. There's a reason why being quiet is important. It makes the time go by faster. Tension is built. It makes people think. And when it finally breaks on purpose, no one will ever forget it. That's how men should talk. Not all the time. Not without care. But definitely as if you were dropping a hammer on stone. Every time you talk, you either make your picture stronger or weaker. This is something most people don't know. They talk to be liked, to fit in, and to ease their feelings of being alone. There is a difference in how your words hit you when they come from a place of quiet, deep observation and calm certainty. They don't repeat. They get there. The Stoics knew this very well. Marcus Aurelius wasn't someone who talked a lot. He was in charge of an empire, but no one saw his diaries. He didn't say that because he was afraid of being misread, but because he knew that words are tools that should only be used when they are needed. Words that are full of meaning are rarely long, Seneca wrote. That is more than just theory. That's a plan. The man who listens more than talks is mysterious, but a powerful person only speaks up when it matters. Power to change the subject, ability to halt someone, to tell the truth in a way that is so raw that it silences the room. Think about the hammer. It only needs one hit to get its point across. To drive something deep, all it takes is one clean hit. The same goes for your words. Not make the air pretty, but cut through it. You don't talk to get cheers, you talk to make a point. The law of quiet says that when you speak, your words have more power. There is a catch, though. You have to earn that silence. By being disciplined, by thinking about yourself, by controlling yourself. Don't be quiet if you don't want to be strong. Think about whether what you're going to say is worth a hammer before you speak. Does it serve the truth, or is it just noise that looks like thought? You don't need to weigh in on most talks. You don't need to defend most of your points. When you need to say something and no one else has the guts to, that's when you should use your voice. If you're the kind of man who's on this path, working on your character, training your mind, and controlling your silence, then you belong here. Press the subscribe button right now, not only to stay up to date, but also to keep your skills sharp. Every word in this piece is made to be powerful. Not any filler. Silence. The truth hit you like a hammer. Because in the end, the person who doesn't say much but does say it strongly makes the biggest mark. The law of silence from the Stoics is not about being weak. It has to do with power. You control your life when you control your tongue. You must stop responding. You start to look around. Stop trying to get acceptance. You start to get respect. And most importantly, you stop wasting energy on the noise and start making something stronger. Power that is quiet, focused, and never stops. Here is the challenge. Don't say as much. Look around more. Before you talk, think. And when you do talk, make sure that each word is sharp enough to cut through the noise. In the end, quiet doesn't mean there is no power. It is the power